on the One Network.
The Wendy Adams Show is for all seekers of truth and anyone who seeks to understand the many mysteries of our place in the cosmos and life itself. We explore a variety of topics that we feel are most urgent and valuable at this time and strive to find real truth and solid answers through contemplating, sharing, and exploring experiences and understanding of the bigger picture. We live an incredibly exciting, new, and even awkward time in the history of our planet. History has been written and rewritten in so many ways, and truth hidden for so many reasons. It is a very real challenge to discern what is real and what is programmed in our society and lives. Together, and through our mutual explorations and discussions, we have the ability to elevate our understanding and raise the frequency of our planet to a level that literally assists the evolution of humankind. There is so much we can do to make a difference for ourselves, our lives, and our future within the greater universal reality. Please join us in this journey of discovery. Evolve your truth. We are all here for a purpose. Let us discover what is within us and what we have yet to discover from without us. And I want to thank you all for being here. And I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And we have an amazing special show for you today. We have, of course, Rob Freeman, who's going to be joining us. And we have the infamous Brian Kelly here that you all know and love. So first, let me bring Rob on. Hi, Rob. Can you say hi to everyone?
Hi, Wendy. Hi, everyone. How are you? Okay.
Great.
Hey, Rob.
Just want to let you guys know that Rob is his dog is not feeling well again, and so he may not be on the show as much as we'd like him to. So Brian, come on here and say hi to everybody.
Hello, everybody. Happy Christmas week. Hi, Mom. I miss you. It's good to be here. Thank you for having me, Wendy. I'm honored to be on your show, and I finally actually have some FaceTime for the first time, I think, actually.
I know. We have never had a chance to talk ever. We typed once, I think, on saying hi on Lisa's Skype when you were in Morocco. And so where are you now? Tell everybody. I know they probably don't, they already know, but tell me.
Yeah, I'm in the north of Morocco.
Okay.
I'm just outside of a little town called Rincon, which is on the Mediterranean coast, just about a 10-minute drive away from, we have part of Spain. It's like a Spanish province called Ceuta, and we're really close to the border, the international Spanish border here in Morocco. So basically like the northernmost tip of Morocco is where I am now.
Great. Now, do you love it there?
Yeah, well, you probably know some of the backstory and some of the things that have happened over the course of the last year here in Morocco. But yeah, it's got its pros, it's got its cons. The people are really nice, amazing, and sweet. The food is delicious and fresh. The beaches are amazing. I'm a mover and a shaker. I get bored in the same place for too long, so I'm actually getting ready to make another big move over to Indonesia here, probably within the next few weeks. So this is probably the last few weeks that I'll be in Morocco, but it's been good to me.
Great, great. So, Rob, do you want to say hi in here for a moment?
Yeah, hi, Brian.
Hey, Rob, I'm sorry to hear about your dog, buddy.
Oh, thanks, mate. He'll be okay, though. Well, Wendy's been sending him some energy, and he's kind of picked up a little bit, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll send him some as well for you, brother.
Oh, thanks, bro. Thank you.
I love it.
My pleasure.
And so we really haven't set up a specific topic, guys, to talk about as we usually do on our shows. We just kind of wing it and see what comes out and just kind of let the universe guide us and stuff. And I got to say, Brian, I got to read your actual blog about the purpose. Brilliant. I loved it. Would you want to talk a little bit about that today?
Sure. Yeah, I would love to actually. Um, Gosh, where do I start? Do you have any? It's been my life for the last few months specifically. But is there anything in particular that you want to know from what you've read?
I think that what really, really resonated to me was the part about letting go. It's something that we've talked about on a lot of shows recently, and kind of when you get to the point where you just let go and you let go of all the things that are going on in your life and you start fresh and you come in, that's when you're really coming to you and you're coming in from your heart center. That's the part that was just really, wow. I want to talk about that.
Okay, awesome. Well, I mean, life is a collection of a lifetime worth of experiences, right? I mean, what else is it? So, it's I look at the last 10 years of my life just specifically, and I think that there's many people that'll watch this show and listen that can relate that something about the last 10 years as far as the evolution of humanity and what we're going through as a species altogether has been powerful on so many levels. And that trickles down microcosm of the macrocosm, and we each have our own experiences and stories of how that has manifested and affected our lives on an individual basis and as groups. And the reason for putting those blog posts out there that I did recently is to just kind of guide people along the journey that I've been going on. And as a radio persona, I feel like my listeners, they know a lot about me, but a lot of the details I have never really had a really great opportunity to share and go really deep. And putting those blog posts out in this business that I'm working on launching has allowed me to get a little bit more intimate than I have the opportunity to do so on the radio. And so I think that the big realization for me was, I found myself over the course of the last few months, I felt like I was in this state of spiritual paralysis. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and didn't really, was still trying to figure out what I want my next move to be, project to work on, and looking for the things that inspired me. And as a result, you never really know. You have an idea, and next thing you know, it goes through many life cycles just over the course of a few months. And what you started to create and what you end up creating are two completely different things. But the letting go aspect, I mean, it really is a huge part of it. I feel like our greatest growth as human beings comes when we can pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and grow from our hardest experiences, and take away, figure out what it is that this process of continued learning and this process of continued growth is just so powerful. And that was probably one of my favorite parts about putting those blog posts out is that I could show through every experience that I had where I fell on my face and I get myself up, dust myself off, put myself back together again like Humpty Dumpty. What did I learn from it? And I realized it was kind of my first time ever taking, some of the major turning point events in my life and figuring out what was it that I learned in that moment that can catapult me and push me and give me the strength that I need to take the next steps. And so it was fun being able to tell that journey, and it's beautiful because where else do we really get inspiration? You get so much inspiration from hearing about someone's story, or looking at a project that somebody creates, or hearing about somebody's. It's inspiring, and I felt that if I could tell my story in such a way that people could get a better understanding of who I am as a person, that it might give people the kind of inspiration that they need to be able to take leaps of faith and to take risks, and treat every day like it's our last, because we don't really know how long we're going to be here. And one of these days I'll probably have to write a book about the whole journey, because trying to squeeze it into 3 blog posts is completely impossible. So I touched, it was kind of the tip of the iceberg, kind of an effort, but it's been very empowering. I mean, sharing who you are and sharing yourself and sharing your spirit. And me, I mean, probably from the radio shows, you get a pretty good sense, Wendy, that I'm a free spirit, and I like to try to make my life as fun and joyful as I can. And this project and everything I'm doing right now is just an outward manifestation of that.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. And I do see you doing books. I'm seeing three right off the bat. So I do see three for you. And you need to do that. You need to do your writing because that's when you're really you, when you're tapping into your soul and your heart. So I know I don't like to tell people what to do, but you have to write a book. There's just no ifs, ands, or but about it. That's a must for you. You have to get it out there. And yes, people will actually buy the book. So stop worrying about that. You're kidding. You have so many followers and so many people that will do it for you to support you because you know what you do right. You have a way about writing it that you can reach everybody. And the way that you put yourself out there is incredible because you know a lot of people are afraid of, bearing their soul to the world. Like I've done this or, this is how I was before. You know what? Like we've all done things that we're just not proud of or that we wish we hadn't, and people have done stuff to us that was wrong and we just have to let that go. And I think this is like the perfect time to talk about it because we're coming into the new year and we want to
Yeah.
focus on some good stuff and let go of the bad of this year, let go of all that, and you have to write the book. So
Oh, thank you. Well, I really appreciate it. I think probably one of the things that, well, just on feedback and Facebook messages and emails and stuff that I receive, that I'm kind of a wear my heart on my sleeve kind of guy. Uh, I don't really know how to fake how I'm feeling. So what comes off is just me being really raw and authentic, and I think that that's probably a big one of the reasons why people feel like they can connect and get to know me. And I see so many people put on false personas to gain a following or to create this kind of mask that they wear to try to build a network and things like that. And I don't judge those people for doing those kinds of things, but I don't really know how to do that. All I know how to do is just be me. And I'm still trying to figure what that means and who me is, and I'm 33 years old. I got a lot more life to live. But I believe in finding something that we can do and invest our time and energy into where we can wake up and feel excited about the day, where life becomes a journey. It becomes an adventure, and we're constantly putting ourselves out there and getting vulnerable and allowing the universe to present these amazing opportunities to expand and to grow and to build networks and to come together. That's kind of one of the biggest parts of my message right now is, and I've been saying it for the last year or two, is that uniting under a common vision for a better world is one of the best things that we can do as brothers and sisters of one human race right now. I see there's so much of the divide and conquer programming that's still playing itself out amongst humanity right now. And one of the things that I've been saying is, when we take aside this 1% of things that people like to argue about and toss around in Facebook threads, and you look at it one thread and it's got 337 comments of people arguing with each other about various things. And when you take away that small, portion of it's semantics, a lot of the time people don't using the right words to be able to connect with each other, and as a result, they're not seeing eye to eye. And when you take away that stuff, what's left is this sea of commonality where we just have so much in common. We all want to be happy. We all want to be free. We all want to be able to live life of abundance and prosperity and have connections and love our families and connect with friends and be free to create and do and, just enjoy life. Those are common threads amongst all of us, every one of us. I don't care who you are, unless you're absolutely crazy. And, there are some of those out there too, but a small percentage, right? So it's like 2015 for me is the year where we just leave those petty differences behind and we reach our arm across the aisle and figure out ways to connect with people that, you know, maybe we have a history of butting heads with. Because when we shed that skin of I need to prove myself as being right, or this is the way to do it, or you have to follow me, or this and that, all these kind of polarity, duality models, it's just time for them to go. And the only real way to evolve out of that conditioning is to just be a beacon for change. You know, show other people how it's done. You know, show people that it's not difficult, that, you know, we have the ability every day to circumspect and look at ourselves in the mirror and ask ourselves, how can I grow more today, and how can I share that growth with others? And um, that's where inspiration comes from. And the more of us that starts taking a stand and saying, look, so much of this reality that we've created just doesn't work anymore, and God bless it for what it's taught us, but holy shit, it's time to move on, you know? And I think that 2015 is going to be that year. I think it's going to get really messy on a lot of levels and very chaotic for a lot of people. But I think that that's why we're here, you know, the One Network and the work that we're doing, and then so many others is just across the world that are doing similar things, is to hold that space to show people that it's some of the stuff just has to come crumbling down before it can get built back up again. And it very well may be a darkest before the dawn type of energetic, but you know, we have the ability to cruise through life and keep an even mind and try to avoid the really high highs and the really low lows, and just kind of be an example for people, to show people that it doesn't have to be so difficult all the time. So I have a lot of messages within me that I want to get out. So I thank you for encouraging me with the book writing. You know, but we're in this together, and that's really, aside from everything else, this company, the work with the radio shows, the stuff with my blog, that's really where it starts and finishes, is let's group together. We're so powerful when we unite. And, you know, we have the ability to transform our world like that when we connect and when we come together. And that's going to be my message going into this new year.
I love it. It's, you know, that's actually been my one message for since I started doing radio, has been that we all do need to come together as one. That's the only way I see us getting through all these big changes. And so a lot of what you've been saying is what we've been saying, and the shows that we've been doing, and are kind of the same philosophies, like exactly the same beliefs that we have, that we can get through this. And it is going to get messy. You're right about that, boy. And we are going to see changes of likes we have never seen before. But together, oh well, you know, it's not a big deal. We've got each other, and we can get through it as long as we do have each other. That's the key.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No problem. I mean, I don't believe in problems anyways. It's a cliche. I'm one of those guys that says there's no problems, there's challenges and opportunities.
Right.
But it's true. You know, I mean, it's true. Every big challenge, you know, if you believe everything happens for a reason, and you believe that and when I say you, I just mean we, or humanity in general, that we co-create our experiences to be able to learn and to be able to grow, then there's no reason to get so caught up. I mean, there's no such thing as a roadblock. We got little hurdles, you know? And that's where the fun and creation really is really all about. Because right now we have a world full of challenges, right? But we have 7.5 billion or so creators that are fully capable to their core of coming together and making solutions. There's absolutely not an issue on the planet today that is insurmountable. I don't care if we're talking about pollution or war or greed or poverty or sustainability. These are all things that people, flesh and blood human beings, have created solutions for already. And the challenge is bringing these creators that have these new innovations, that have these great ideas, to the forefront, and allowing them to share their ideas and to implement their ideas on a world scale. Now, yes, of course that takes time. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't start, and the process has already begun. There's so many amazing people doing so many amazing things all around the world. You just don't hear about it. And there's, that's part of the reason why we do the One Network stuff, right? And the new conscious consumer network that Mel V is launching is because it's time to stop talking about so much bad news and to focus on the solutions and what people are doing. I mean, it's enough to make you want to cry when you see, you go online and you just start digging into what people are doing. And that's where I got the main inspiration and motivation for the project that I'm working on now, is just by figuring out what other people are doing and figuring out what's working and mirroring it and changing it a little bit to make it your own, but connecting with the people that are solution focused. What's the guy's name? There's even so many alternative media people that you become pros at understanding the issues. And that's fine and dandy to be able to raise awareness and let people know what's really going on. But, you get to a point where being a professional and understanding the issues, you realize it's just not solving the issues. It's not creating solutions and getting people to rally around ideas that are working. And so there's a lot of things people are doing right now that I feel like really all they need is just a raise in awareness. Just like there's this raising in awareness of what's going on with deception in media. That's why alternative media is there, to raise awareness of what's really happening. Well, there's people and projects around the world right now that are under-supported and people are unaware, and that's ultimately what's causing the whole process to kind of be slowed down, is just because people don't know about it. And so those are the kinds of things I'm looking at now, is figuring out what people are doing and then using my voice as a radio person and a blogger to share those things with other people. And that's how information spreads. The internet is such a powerful tool. Yes, it's a crazy addiction. Yes, I spend too many hours in front of my computer screen every day, but I'm not watching YouTube videos on, how to do stupid mindless things. I'm trying to use the internet as a tool to connect with people that share my vision, that share my heart, and that want to help make the world a better place. And then there's that cliche number 2 for the radio show, but it's so true. That think about it this way, this is an analogy I used recently. There's 7.5 billion of us. What if 3 billion of us stopped what we were doing right now and went out and helped one other person?
Wow.
We have almost the whole world covered, right?
Definitely.
So these are the kinds of things that the new rabbit holes I'm going down are the rabbit holes of inspiration, of finding, connecting, sharing, and working together and uniting with other like minds. And I think there's going to be a lot more of that as this next year gets going.
Oh, definitely. And you have an amazing energy, Brian. I know you're going to be able to do this. I can see you can barely sit still. I love it. You're going to be able to accomplish all of that and so much more. I got to say, I love it.
Wendy, can I just come in here?
Yeah, Rob,
Just while I've got a chance.
Sorry.
Wow, exactly the same thing. Agree totally with what Brian's saying. Absolutely everything. And I'm sat here with the biggest grin. I'm sat here on mute. Brian's energy is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And you're saying the same things that Wendy and myself and many others have been saying. So this is really refreshing for me to be meeting people with this great positive energy. And you coined a really nice phrase I liked, that you were experiencing, spiritual paralysis. I like that. I really like that phrase because that kind of describes a lot of us. But yeah, highlighting and focusing on our similarities rather than our differences. And you also made a real clear point about how simple this all is. And it really is simple. And it's what Wendy and I have been talking about. Just operate from your heart centre and do what's right and spread as much of that as you can. And it's an incredible thing, isn't it? So I'm going to butt out now and let you carry on.
Oh, man. Thank you.
We love it.
Oh, by the way, shameless plug about the book, Wendy. Nice one. I like it. Nice shameless plug about the book.
Hey, I gotta call it like I see it. You know I do. If I gotta say it. So sorry. Unfortunately, Rob knows. Poor Rob. He has to deal with me quite frequently. So it can be quite frustrating. But I love it.
Well, it's really cool because I mean you never really know. You sit in front of your computer You do these radio shows, you throw your headset on. You don't really know who's listening or where the message is going to go, and who is going to be potentially inspired by that. I mean, how many times have you heard, from somebody else that says, "Oh my God, when you said this, it gave me the inspiration I needed to do that." Whatever the this is and whatever the that is, and that's, to me, that's like the universe playing itself out through each of us as conduits for the energetic stage that we're all dancing on all the time.
Right.
And using us as tools for synchronicity and to inspire thought. I love that quote. There's nothing more powerful than a great idea whose time has come, because it's so true. All it takes sometimes is just this tiny little idea that you think is really no big deal and isn't going to make a difference. The next thing you know, you got a Facebook, or you've started a revolution, and it just from something so small. I think that part of the reason why people get feel stuck and feel like have a hard time trying to figure out what their purpose in life is or what they should be doing, what they're excited about, is because we turn the challenges of the world into these big monster things. Poverty, 3 billion people living on less than $2.50 a day. Well, what the hell am I going to be able to do to fix that? That's 3 billion people. I'm one man. And I used to think that way too, and I think that that's part of the reason why I kind of stopped myself from taking action and taking initiative, trying to create solutions to some of the challenges I can see in the world, is because I paint these big, huge monster murals of these major issues, but it's not about, it doesn't take monster, crazy, fix the world objectives to change the world. I did a video, I don't know if you saw it recently, of how giving changed my life. I had a firsthand experience with the alchemy of giving, and how it's such an energetic force that has the ability to alter the fabric of our very existence. And I realized during that time that smiling, giving people a hug when they need it, buying somebody a coffee, these are the kinds of little small acts that they have this amazing butterfly effect that just goes out into the ether. And when enough people realize that simple things, kindness, generosity, random acts of kindness, loving thy neighbor as thyself in whatever way that manifests in your life, it's those little things. And I think that we stop ourselves from paying attention to those little things because we don't feel that it makes a difference.
Right.
And that's an illusion. I've talked about it on the radio show before. My favorite shirt. I have a shirt it's my favorite shirt. It's bright green. It says "Free Hugs" on it, and in big white block letters, right? And I got this shirt. I was inspired by watching one of those beautiful YouTube videos of the guy holding the sign "Free Hugs" like out in Times Square and giving people hugs. I said, I want to do that, But I don't, maybe I'll get a shirt instead of a sign. And when I wear it around, it blows, it kind of, what it does is it has an effect on people. It basically breaks down people's boundaries. And people will run up to you and they'll go, "Can I have a free hug?" Total strangers. Now, where else do you know where total, other than like, concerts and like hippie festivals and things like that, or yoga retreats, or where the energetic is kind of in line with that kind of thing, where total strangers will walk up to each other and hug each other. I mean, come on. And so once you test it, you realize that underneath this thick persona that people create around themselves are these hugely compassionate beings that just want to be loved and just want to love others. And so much of this programming and so much of this conditioning that comes in movies and TV and music and all of the layers of kind of control and the layers of domination, all those things that we talk about on the radio all the time that I'm just kind of tired of talking about now. When they come down, what's left is these bright, brilliant, shining human beings that have so much love and so much to give. And I've seen it with my eyes, the effect that people can have on each other when they just bring their walls down, share their smiles, and to show people that changing the world is as easy or as difficult as we ultimately decide to make it for ourselves individually.
Oh, wow. Yeah, definitely. That is amazing. And you're right. The impact that one little act of kindness can have, the rippling effect goes on. It's endless. So I loved it. And I loved a little story about the coffee and how the
Oh
next
yeah.
several people afterwards, was it five of them in a row right after did that? And the last one, and they all bought the coffee for the person behind him. That, I mean, just imagine that, the person that's coming in there behind you, just having the worst morning in the world and gets there. And you know what? There's a free coffee. And like you just made that person's day. I don't think you realize like what that simple little cup of coffee did for that person. She just couldn't believe it.
Lem-
Just
it
really
was
made her day.
amazing. What was so awesome about that story was, and just to kind of recap here for anybody that hasn't watched that video with Hope, is that, well, first of all, I bought a coffee and I paid it. It's simple. I just paid $1.50 or $2 for a cup of coffee for the next person, and I had this little pay it forward card, and I gave it to the little barista. And she was kind of taken aback but excited about the idea of giving. And when I saw her again, that yeah, she told me, she said, "You're not going to believe this. The giving guy," she kept calling me. "You're the giving guy." Ah, I was like, whoa, what happened? And she said, after I used that ticket to buy the next person's coffee, 5 more people did it after that. I think it was 6 total. And that these are most likely not people that ever have participated in some kind of a giving challenge, that have never, don't even understand the concept of paying it forward. Everybody knows what a random act of kindness is, but you give people the opportunity to give, and they run with it. Let me tell you a cool story, if I can.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, I was on a business trip. I've never told the story on the radio before. I just realized.
Oh, well,
I was on a business. I was on a business trip to Colorado, and this was after I had gotten the job that I talked about in that video during this 29 Gifts challenge. And I was at the airport, and I was coming home and going back to San Diego, and I don't remember what it was. I think I was maybe just so excited and happy to go home after a long business trip. But for whatever reason, I just found myself extremely happy. And I had my little earbuds in, I was listening to my music, kind of rocking out. And I was going, there was a really long security line that day. And it was one of those turnstiles where you go back and forth and back and forth, and you find yourself seeing the same people over and over again. And I had this permanent smile, right? And I had this intuition that told me, share your smile today, right? This is after the giving challenge and all that. So I kind of had that seeded into my DNA at this point. And so I'm smiling, and I'm looking at every person in the eye as I'm walking past them, and just smiling, giving them a beaming smile. And I'm trying to get one back. It wasn't working. It's a really, if you think about it, it's a really strange place to be really happy. The internet, the security line at the airport, there's a lot of people, a lot of somber faces, and people tired of travel, and just not really that happy to be where they're at, whatever it might be. But it wasn't stopping me. I was on a mission to share my smile that day. And I go through, 45 minutes go by. I go through the machine, whatever, with my bags. And in Colorado, where the airport is, you have to get on a little tram to go to your gate. And so I'm on this tram now, and I'm scanning, right? And I still got this smile, and I'm scanning across, and then all of a sudden, boom, right across the little tram is this older lady. She must have been, I don't know, in her 70s. And we caught eyes, and we both had this beaming smile, right? And we just looked at each other, and it was like so much was said without saying a word. It was almost like we had this unspoken agreement in that moment that we were on a mission to share our smile that day. I'm not really sure what it was, but it must have lasted 15 seconds where we just beamed at each other, right? And I was, oh my God, I was so lifted. The smile that I was looking for, I got it back. And this is the craziest part of the story, and why I tell this story. I got off the tram, and I'm just cloud nine and happy, right? And I go up the escalator, And I have the picture because you're not going to believe it. It's still saved on my phone to this day. And as I'm going up the escalator, there's this big, huge digital sign with a white background that's just blaring at me, right? And I'm going to hold my phone up. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but this is what was on that screen.
Oh.
It says, "Smile, pass it on." And I went,
Awesome.
oh my God. And it's little moments like that where you go, God, there's so much more going on in the universe than we have any idea. And, you realize there's nothing that, the whole, I understand it, shit happens and it's easy to get down and have a tough day and feel like you're carrying the world on your shoulders and an 800-pound gorilla on your back. But we each have the ability within us to be able to laugh at the hardest challenges in our life, where you realize, look, I created this. I'm gonna get through it. Tomorrow is a new day, and it's little. You look back at your life and you realize you have all these little that lead you to this new realization that life is an adventure. And yeah, I realize I'm super full of energy, and I'm not like this all the time. I'm having a high energy day today, but when we realize that life is an adventure, then it's all about sharing that and living every day as if to the fullest, of its absolute potential. And it's understandings like that make it really hard to do get stuck doing the same thing that's just really boring, the living life of monotony where you're not shaking it up. And so yeah, if I can be an example for others to let your guard down a little bit and start enjoying life a little bit more, then shit, I'm so happy to do that.
Well, you definitely do that.
And I know you do that, Wendy. And I know we've never talked face to face before, but we run in the same crowd, and everyone speaks very highly of you. And I'm so honored to be able to share this space with you on your show today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I feel the same about you. And I was just blown away when I was seeing all the amazing things that you're doing and how in sync you are with both Rob and myself with our everything, like our messages and exactly how we feel about what's going on. And I think I even said to Rob, I said, I don't think there could be a more, aside from us, I don't think there could be another person out there that is more in sync with everything that we've been saying. Like you really are. You have no idea.
Well, you know what they say about great minds.
That's true. Rob, are you still here with us? Is it
Yeah,
dog?
I am. I am. I'm listening to you both. Yeah, I just want to make a point of absolutely incredible what you said about kindness is what we've been saying for a long time, and to offer some sort of kindness without any expectations or nothing attached to it, just for the sake of doing it, is a really incredible thing and something we should all be striving to do. And in a way, it does come back. It comes back a thousandfold anyway. But it's like for such a long time we've been lost in the depths of the mind. We've been lost in ego. And we're starting to realise now. And that real great story you showed with the Mona Lisa picture there, what you start to notice the synchronicity of everything. That's an amazing story. But it didn't amaze me that much because, and I'm sure you can, you're both testament of this, on a daily basis now, things are happening that seem so coincidental. And what happens is when we've come out of ego mind, as we know, and we start operating like us three are saying, basically, you see the synchronicity. It's absolutely everywhere. At one time, we would have thought it was random coincidence, but what we're starting to realise is the universe is so synchronistic that we're recognising it. And if anybody ever doubts themselves whether they're on the right path, all I can say to them is go on how you feel, go from your heart centre, and the more times you recognise synchronicity, you're on the right path, sort of thing. You're doing something right. So yeah, I agree with everything.
Well
I
said.
couldn't agree more. That I couldn't agree more with the what you just said about the more you notice it, the more it shows up. I mean, I get the same thing with repeating number patterns and things like that. You see them, and the next thing you know, every time you look at the clock, you got 4:44, 11:11, whatever. I love that part in the Celestine Prophecy. It's one of the first kind of spiritual books that I found that kind of opened me up a little bit, and they have a whole kind of part about how when we come together as humans, I'm one of those people that thinks that we play a major role in designing all of our relationships at some higher level beforehand. You know, whether they last 5 minutes or 5 days or 5 months, 5 years, or 5 lifetimes. And when we connect with each other, we have the ability to wade through the bullshit a lot faster and say, look, you know, obviously we came together for a reason. What are you up to in your life right now? What are you doing? What are we here to learn from each other? You know, I feel, you know, we spend so much time talking about the damn weather, and it's really amazing when you can use conversation and energy to get people to let their guard down faster, and you get people to open up, and amazing opportunities come from that, and some of the synchronicities that I've paid attention to in my life have led me to the greatest opportunities to work with others, to work on projects, whatever it might be. And you know, I think that that's probably a symptom of what's going on throughout humanity right now, is that people are starting to wake up to the understanding that coincidence is kind of an illusion, yeah, and really all there is synchronicity, and all we got to do is just, you know, open our eyes and stay aware, and know that we're being sent messages in every moment. And it's just a matter of, are you willing to open yourself up to see and hear the messages as they come in.
Oh, definitely. And, you know, I actually get visions as well. And I'm seeing so many when it comes to you. We're going to have to talk after, boy.
Oh my God, I
But
love that.
it's all good, all good. But wow. And, you know, and those of you who are not intuitive out there, Brian is so right. You will see signs. There will be, you know, something said repeatedly, and you'll hear it over and over again, or something will come on the radio, and okay, you turn the channel, the same song comes on again, and then you turn it again, the same thing. It's like these little things will happen, or you know, someone will say something to you and just one part of what they say will just really stick with you. And then someone else will say the same thing. Just watch for those signs, because you know what, when you truly let go to everything that's negative and you just stay in your heart, the universe talks to you all the time. And no, I'm not crazy. I do see visions. And ever since I had that lightning, getting hit by lightning experience, it's been nonstop. But um, those of you out there, you know, that don't see the visions, oh, you see,
I need to hear that story sometime.
oh, you don't know. You guys don't know. I'm gonna have to do a show where I
Yeah.
kind of talk a little bit and share some of that, because I've had a lot of amazing experiences, and I'll definitely share some more with you guys. But it's so true. The signs are there all the time, and you just gotta watch for them, be open. Just, you know what? Stop looking through your mind. Like look and listen through your heart, and wow, the world is so much more beautiful when you do that. Sorry.
Absolutely. No, absolutely it is. You're very eloquent in your way with words, Wendy. I have a deep respect for
Oh,
you.
thank you.
Um, um, Buckminster Fuller has that quote. I just found it recently, and it's so beautiful. I think I have it here on my computer. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It's talking about, oh, here it is. It says it is now highly feasible to take care of everybody on Earth at a higher standard of living than any have ever known. It no longer has to be you or me. Selfishness is unnecessary. War is obsolete. It is a matter of converting the high technology from weaponry to livingry. And
Wow,
that has,
beautiful.
yeah, right. That has been such an inspiration uh, for me, because I'm one of those. You could probably tell, but I'm an extreme optimist. You know, I look around and I see that there's you know, there's a lot going on in the world right now that appears to be extremely chaotic, but I believe in the positive timeline. I believe that, you know, after December 21st, 2012, all the, you know, the talk of New World Order and Agenda 21 and all that stuff is just not possible anymore. And I believe that the ancient prophecy about, you know, this epoch of time leading to a time of great change where, you know, 1,000 years of peace and prosperity, whatever you want to call it. But it's just a matter of a lot of small choices by enough people make a huge impact, and that what that means and what that equates to me as just this incredible opportunity to really kind of rise up together and overcome so much of this crap. And that's let me tell you. Can I tell you a little bit about this project that I'm working on? Because that quote ties into this.
Please do.
So I my favorite section of the bookstore for 2 years was the New Age section, and I became, I was so kind of anti-religious, dogmatic establishment that I needed to replace it with something, and I kind of turned to New Age philosophy of accept everyone and love and light, and a lot of those ideologies, and they really resonated with me because it was very kind of open and accepting and allowing of people to be who they are and do what they do, and see all of humanity as one, and all those the beautiful parts. But I also I think I kind of got sucked a little bit too far, kind of down that direction, and it caused me to be extremely complacent. Well, if everything is done and it's all love and light, and what you resist persists, and don't pay energy into the negative. I mean, to me, those are all things that cause people to sit and not really do a whole lot to be a part of the change or be a part of the solutions that we talked about before. And I think that my kind of waking up and understanding that, first of all, you shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I've kind of come out of this kind of fog of haziness. That's a whole other radio show to talk about this some of the experiences that we've had here in Morocco. But I started to look at, and I started to just kind of make myself more aware of some of the challenges happening in the world, and figuring out what I can do to, and where I can place my energy to be a part of the solutions. And so I created this concept called 9 Gifts of Gaia. And it's basically it's a funding platform that raises funding and awareness for some of the world's greatest causes. And I found, through my research of trying to figure out what are the major issues that people are kind of working together on to try to build bridges for and create solutions for in reality right now, in this time that we're living in. And basically that led me to all of these generosity-based businesses. I discovered this whole new, because I have a business background. I'm a marketing guy. I've done real estate. I've helped launch a handful of companies, and I left it all behind a few years ago to jump on board the One People's Public Trust train and do the radio shows and the blogging and all that. And kind of, I got a bad taste in my mouth in the business world, because you got this, I mean, it's all based on competition, and it's all about snuffing the competition out, and everything is based on profit and bottom lines, and it's all about money, and all the people working the hardest in the company are the ones making the least, and you got the executives of the company lining their pockets and making millions and billions, and you got companies like Walmart who just treat all their employees like shit. These are all the kind of things that cause me to go, man, maybe I'm not a business guy. Maybe this isn't for me. And what I found was, when I started kind of digging into opportunities that rallied around this kind of core idea of bringing a new product to market, we started asking ourselves, if we're going to do a business, we got to figure out what it is that we're doing it for. Why are we doing it? And I talked about that on the radio show with Hope. But what that led to was I discovered a revolution that I didn't even realize existed. And the revolution is this business based on generosity, commerce based on generosity, conscious commerce. And I realized that businesses, when the dawn of business kind of came to be, businesses were created to solve a problem, make life easier in some way. And somewhere along the way in the life cycle of business, we lost that. Now there's a lot of really great innovations that, if you look at the whole grand spectrum of everything that's going on in commerce and in business, and there's a lot of really great things, but there's a lot of shit out there too that people just don't need. New creations that people just don't need, that are just, making more pollution, and just it doesn't serve the greater good of humanity. And unfortunately, I think that's the majority, the greater majority of business projects. They're missing that component of using business or commerce as a tool to make the world a better place. And when I started to dig and I started to kind of dive into what people are doing, I found that there's actually a lot of businesses popping up now that have adopted this. It's called social cause, but I like to call it the GBB model, the giving, the generosity-based business model. And I'm looking around, I'm thinking, well, what a revolution to start. I mean, right now, unfortunately, we still live in a world that largely revolves and relies around making money. And a lot of people have gotten out of that cycle, but the majority of us are still kind of in it. And I use the example that, the commerce is like a machine, and money is the oil that keeps the machine running. And so when I started to kind of do my research and to dissect, I realized that, the world, this is a world that's based on consumption. Everybody's a consumer, and there's so much advertising and so much marketing to try to get people to buy the next thing and all this stuff. And it doesn't matter. The world could be burning down and people are going to be online shopping for shit. And that's just the honest to God truth. So why not look at the landscape of this day and age and figure out a way to not shock the system so much, but just use the system as it exists and refunnel and rechannel where the energy goes. And so, finding companies like Sevenly, who just launched in 2011 and raised over $4 million, and helped over 1.3 million people in the process in 3 years, that became hugely inspiring for me, because there's so much I've wanted to do over the course of the last few years, and I've used not having any money as an excuse for not doing it. And I realized that that's just a bad excuse, and I'm not going to let that stop me anymore. And so, I basically, what I did was I went out and myself, Jorge, and a few friends, we started to kind of brainstorm and figure out what's the best way of developing something like this, where we can support some of the causes that are some of the major challenges facing humanity today. And we realized that there's so many, it's hard to pick any one. I just wanted to launch this business to do, help eradicate poverty. So what we did was we're looking at poverty, sustainability, innovation, and education. And so every month, what we'll do is we'll pick a new cause, and we will launch a campaign. We'll design T-shirts that share the message of the mission of the campaign. The first one that we're working with is Kiva. Some of your listeners probably will have heard this story. But basically, every month, what it'll do is it'll allow us the opportunity to harness the viral nature of social media and to spread the word about some of the most worthy, needed causes that require support from people. And some people, they have a bad taste in their mouth about nonprofits or charities because of bad press they've heard. Some people, they're just too lazy. They don't want to go, donate their time, or they're not necessarily into donating money. But what if we change the nature of commerce to where every time somebody shopped for anything, whether it's a deliverable like a widget or whether it's some kind of service, a part of that revenue went to go to some worthy cause to make the world a better place. And this is not a brand new concept. It's just one that needs more awareness raised around it. I foresee in the not so far off future, business and industry and commerce being designed around making the world a better place, to where if somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, Brian, can I buy you, this book?" My response is going to be, "Well, what causes that support? What if we instilled that into our children? Don't buy anything unless you know that the money is going to a place somewhere to make the world a better place." And that's kind of the whole, we have all sorts of different things that we're trying to do. We're trying to team up with other artisans that are making high quality, you know, sustainable products that don't harm the planet or don't harm people, or aren't made in sweatshops. And we're reaching out and we're finding people, and we're basically bringing them in. We're showing them our business model, and every item that we sell, $9 goes to the monthly cause for the month. And so way more important than selling anything, whether it be t-shirts or argan oil or any of these other things, this is a lot of what my article was about, is the fact that awareness is raised around things that deserve it. The mainstream media isn't going to talk about free energy devices. They're not going to talk about a lot of the stuff that is kind of hidden in the background that deserves support. So what better way than to create a model that raises not only funds, but more importantly, awareness for places that people can, it's all you got to do. You want to help somebody in poverty, buy a t-shirt, buy a bottle of argan oil. So it's very, for anybody that hasn't delved down the rabbit hole of the generosity-based business model, it's kind of, people are, I try to talk about this, people, and then they go, oh, you know, because it's just not commonplace yet. So my vision is that, and my mission and objective is that through this process of creating this thing that I'm very inspired and very passionate about, that I can inspire and empower others to start looking at their own lives and start figuring out how can I put myself in a position where I'm part of the solution and not a part of it. And so over and above any idea for business, I mean, that's really what this whole project is about. It's about inspiring and empowering people to look in the mirror and ask themselves, how can I help make the world a better place today? And that video I put out is don't make it so difficult. You know, you don't have to buy a shirt, you don't have to buy a product from me. That's not the point. The point is, let's look at our own lives and figure out how we can, as individuals, start to work on being the change that we want to see in the world. You know, and that's kind of that's my new mission. That's my new objective, and it's already being done. You know, there's so many amazing people doing so many amazing things that really what I'm doing is I'm picking up where people have left off, and I'm bringing a new level of awareness to people that are unfamiliar with these kinds of concepts. But it's been fun. It's been a fun ride, that's for sure so far, and it's just getting started.
Oh, it is just getting started. You're definitely right about that. And I've got to say that, everything that you've ever done with business and everything that you ever do is actually going to be successful. The ones that didn't work out were because you weren't doing it from your heart. That's what makes all the difference. When you're doing it from something that really is coming from your heart center and it's really going to do something for the world in the bigger picture, that's when it's going to just really flourish, because you can't lose with this, because you're going to be able to make a difference. It's a win-win situation. And I've got to say, I have faith in you, and that you're, with your business background and everything, you're quite brilliant. I know that you're not going to tell everybody that, but I'm gonna.
Well,
My
thank you.
intuition says that you're going to, and this is great. I love it. Rob, have we
I'm
put you to
blushing.
sleep? Sorry. Rob, have we put you to sleep? Uh-oh.
No, I'm listening.
Get in here.
Okay. I'm really relate to what Brian's saying there, because I came across I think it's called Social Cause about 3 or 4 years ago, and I was looking at I was helping a lot of people who were getting sort of bullied and harassed and intimidated by corporations. So I started looking, Brian, at why corporations need to make so much profits when all their employees, right up to a CEO, are on a salary anyway. So that led me to start thinking, well, I know shareholders want the money back, but why do they have to make so much profit? That's when I came across, sort of this corporations, companies that were engaging in commerce and actually putting something back.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first things I came across was there's certain companies now is, instead of setting employees on, whoever gets a job with them becomes an owner, a part owner of the company itself. And I think that's a great starting point, because rather than having to work for somebody, you've now got a vested interest in the company. Obviously, they weren't interviewing people just on the basic skills for the job. It was based on the personality, what they were like, whether they were greedy, ambitious people, whether they were generous people. That was all concept of this particular corporation. So rather than set an employee on, they became part of the company, which thus they cared more about the company. The company, they were all paid very decent salaries, not extortionate, but a good, amount of salary for the hours they were put in. And consequently, any profit they made, they all had an input and divided it up into. The company did make a profit, but was far smaller than other corporations. And then, excuse me, every year, they all voted on an allocation of a good cause, and it was usually on a community level rather than sort of a national level. But I think it's a great thing what you're doing. It's a great concept, and it's not that difficult for people to take on board, is it? That companies don't have to make so much profit at the expense of everyday men and women. Why not make far less profit and put something back, especially on a community level? And what I like about you, Brad, is you're an active participant in this amazing game of life. You're not just stood observing it, you're participating in it. So yeah, fair play to you, mate.
It's bit me in the ass a few times, so
you can take it.
I can take it, yeah. Well, I mean, I love hearing that the social cause business model. Like I said, it's not a new thing. It's just not really talked about. And you look at some of these statistics. I shared them in my blog post. 87% of people polled said that they would switch from one brand to another if the other brand supported a cause. 87%. I mean, that is astounding. And the problem that I've learned with these major corporations and why so many, this is kind of what's starting right now is this new generation, this new landslide of small businesses coming up again. The internet allows that to be possible without big, huge budgets. Is that these major corporations, they have absolutely zero authenticity. The majority of them. I don't want to say all of them, but the majority of them, and they don't. I talk about it a lot because it's been such a crucial part of our mission of this concept of knowing why it is that you're doing something. You want to do this project, you want to do this life event, whatever it might be, you want to start this business, why are you doing it? And I realized if you would have ever asked me that question in all the previous businesses I've ever been a part of, I would have looked like a deer in headlights. I would have said the common answers. Why are you going into business yourself? Well, let's see. I want to make money. I want to be able to create more opportunity in my life. I want to be able to do the fun things that I want to do. I want to be able to create a bit. At the best, I would have offered is I want to be able to create a business that serves my customers. But why? I mean, that wasn't deep enough. That doesn't connect with our soul enough. When you can say with pinpoint, laser pointed focus, this is why I'm going into business and this is what I'm doing and this is what I'm going to accomplish, then no matter what comes up, we can always go back to that point and say, I'm going to keep going because I haven't gotten to where I want to go yet because my why is still there. It's the same why it was that I started. And that is very absent across a lot of businesses, and so it's a very empowering exercise. So, it doesn't just revolve around business. You can ask yourself why with anything. Why am I doing radio shows? Well, because I like raising awareness and spreading truth to the people that are open to hearing it. Why should I get married? Well, there's a good one that a lot of people don't ask themselves, most likely. But these are the kinds of things that we can start to really find purpose in everything that we're doing in life. And when we have infused purpose and passion into everything that we do, then it's easy to hold on to that excitement. It's easy to get on a radio show and to talk about it. I didn't plan out any of this stuff, and that's probably, in my little moments of silence and looking away, it probably comes out. But that's the way I like to do things. Totally spontaneous and just go for it. But the way that change happens is it's, like I said before, it's little things that over time that builds a pattern. And I know that what's going to happen with this social business concept is that it's going to become the norm. To me, it doesn't seem like a function of if or when. Excuse me, if. It's just a matter of when. I think that the children coming into this world are going to demand action, and they're going to demand that businesses play a role. And that these big box corporations like, Best Buy, Walmart, some of these other guys, they're not going to be able to survive in this new energy, because the alignment with purpose and with passion, it's smoke and mirrors. And so it is an exciting movement. It feels like a revolution. It feels like something that really has the ability to make a large impact. And I know with my audience in particular, one of the reasons I had to put out those blog posts is because there's a lot of people that are just fed up with this tool of money. They don't want to have to worry about it anymore. They don't want to have to worry about earning it or making a living. I mean, what a concept is that? We're born free human beings. We got to earn a living. I mean, it's silly. It's crazy. But my whole point and purpose of all this is money is relevant right now. Why not use it as a tool for good? It's not money that's evil. It's what a lot of people do with it. And this whole aspect of greed. So I'm like Rob, the company that you mentioned, that's exactly what I'm trying to do with business. I'm trying to take all the things I hated about business and turn it upside down and figure out, can I make it work that way? And a lot of it is trial and error. You figure out, well, shit, I fell on my face, and next thing you're paying money to sell a product because you're not weighing out your profit margins well enough and all that stuff. There's still a lot of considerations that you have to give that are the same as they always have been. But there's a lot about business that has the ability to be transformed, and people will start to look at it different. And when people start to see that the opportunity is so much different than it once was, I think a lot of new inspired entrepreneurs, creators are going to jump into the mix and say, yes, I have something I want to bring to the world, and this is why I want to do it. And that's going to be inspired as a result of enough people taking the risk and saying, to hell with the status quo. I was born to challenge the status quo. That's what I do. And I don't like it when people tell me, you got to do it this way because it's always been done that way. Read this book. It'll tell you. That's bullshit. And these illusions, it's time that they get busted up and blown apart and exposed for what they really are, which is illusions that we convince ourselves is truth when it's in fact just a story. There's a experiment that was done. I used it as a example video when I did a talk at the Ascension Rising conference when we were on the Opal tour. And it's basically they took this monkey and they put him in a room with a ladder, and at the top of the ladder was a hanging banana. And when the monkey went up to the top of the ladder to get the banana, they sprayed him with a water hose. And the monkey realized, it's not safe to go get that banana. Every time I go up there, I get sprayed with this damn water hose. So then they introduced a new monkey into the room. And the new monkey, first thing, obviously saw that banana. He just tried to climb the ladder. And the other monkey pulled him down. Don't climb that ladder. It's dangerous. You're going to get sprayed with water hose, right? And so you have these every time you introduce a new monkey, they go up and all the other monkeys beat up this monkey. I know it sounds terrible because PETA would have a hell of a time with this one. But you have all these monkeys that never actually got sprayed with this hose, beating up all these other monkeys. And what they did was they took the original monkey out, the only one that had ever gotten sprayed with the hose, and the cycle continued. All these monkeys that had no idea what happens when you walk up, it was part of their culture. If you go up the ladder, you get that banana, it's not a good thing, don't do it. Why? Because it's the way that things have always been done. We don't know why, we don't question why. Well, guess what? It's time to start questioning why. What those monkeys would have found out is that, first of all, they don't even know why they're not climbing up the ladder. I feel like so many of us, humanity-wise, there's so many things that we've just succumbed to believing because it's just the way that we've been told it is. And to me, that just makes no sense. And so I'm finding myself in a position where I'm challenging everything. I'm questioning everything. I have a really hard time believing something just because somebody tells me without looking into it or researching or finding out what other people have to say. My beliefs and how I look at life is so fluid now and so open to be subject to change in perspective based on new experiences, that's challenging the status quo is one of the best things that we could do collectively, because what people will find out is that it's safe. You know, the worst thing, what's the worst thing that can happen? I mean, it's not really a hard thing to understand, but that's with the shifting of the energies of our time, what happens is you have an outward manifestation of the shifting of everything about life and our existence and our relation to it on every level. So if you start to kind of pull apart everything that's going on the planet right now, you realize there's so many layers of change. And what they do is when you put them together, they tell this amazing story that things are different now. So in a different landscape, we have to look at things differently. And the way that we look at things differently is by taking our tunnel vision and going, whoop, next thing you know, you got this whole world that you didn't even notice was there. So, you know, that it takes people with courage to be able to show others that we got to do it this way because it's the way that it's always been done. When we live that way, then we show others that it's okay to live that way too. And when enough people do it, you get this tipping point, and next thing you know, the whole facade comes crashing down.
Definitely. You know, you're so right about that, because people do, they live as they've been programmed. You know, whatever our parents, whatever our teachers, our friends, everybody along the way has taught us, we just assume, we just take it on faith that they wouldn't steer us wrong, would they? What if they were steered wrong? You're absolutely right. And everybody's been steered wrong since the beginning. It's always been about loving each other, coming together as one. You know, we lost it along the way. And one of the things that I like to say is, you know, I love that quote, you know, as it was in the beginning, it shall be again, because that's exactly what I've been seeing in my visions for years, is we're going back to a simpler time. And you're right, we do need to take advantage of the money while we can still use it, while it is still worth something. And we need to prepare for the time when it's not. And that's really the key. And I love that you're doing that.
Yeah, it's first of all, I agree with you completely. When one of the things that I've learned that's happened over and over and over again is that when you're passionate about something, I love that Bashar quote. And it says, and I've used it so much in my life to kind of guide choices that I make. Follow your highest excitement, because I feel like when we're excited and we're passionate. Sorry, I'm keep rubbing my nose. I'm getting over a cold. When we're excited about something, when we're passionate about something, I feel like that's the universe telling us we're on the right track. And and that whatever it is that we're excited about will be supported. And it's taking risks and taking leaps of faith and following our hearts. It's something that takes, you know, you got to bring a certain degree of commitment to be able to kind of really explore ideas and opportunities to be able to see things through. And I truly believe it's not how much we do, it's how much love we infuse into the doing that really makes the difference. And so that's what I'm seeing. You know, it's amazing to be able to. One of the it's funny. I'm gonna put myself embarrass myself here for a second. I don't watch TV. I haven't had TV. I haven't had cable in years, but we had Netflix, and we had when I lived in San Diego, we had this little box that would allow us to watch some of the seasons of the TV shows that we liked without having to buy cable. And my the ones that I liked the most were like the talent shows and like the singing shows and the dancing shows. Like America's Got Talent and X Factor and that kind of thing, because it made me so vulnerable watching people up there on the stage in front of thousands of people, millions of people watching on TV, living out their dream. You hear these stories of people that have invested their whole lives into learning to sing or learning to dance or learning this new talent, and next thing you know, you're watching the culmination of their life's dream play out on a stage before your eyes in this amazing presentation of talent. And when people get standing ovations when they're the underdog, and people are laugh like that looks like an idiot. Next thing you know, they blow you away with this amazing opera voice, and I just lose it. And I don't cry during chick flicks or anything like that. But when I see a person living their dream and having that moment where they realize that the fruit of all of their labor is coming to fruition, and it's like magic, that makes my knees tremble, because it's so inspiring to watch someone who's committed their whole life and so many years of blood, sweat, and tears into something that they're passionate about, ultimately being there with them, really, and watching them play out that dream in front of so many people. And that's, to me, it's one of the most beautiful things to experience, because I have so much appreciation for people that are just, it doesn't matter what your dream is. It really doesn't. I mean, we're 7.5 billion people. We got billions and billions of different ideas of dreams and harmony and, what makes us happy. But just watching people follow their heart, bring that level of commitment and determination to see it through even during the hard times, and to see it through to the fulfillment of whatever it was that they're trying to achieve. I mean, that's beautiful, and everybody is capable of doing it. And this whole instant gratification thing, it's kind of an illusion. It takes work and it takes commitment, and it's not always going to be easy. But if we believe in what we're doing enough, and we're passionate about it enough, there's really no such thing as failure. I hate that word, and I don't even like using the word hate, because I don't really hate anything. But I really despise that word failure, because can we really fail at anything? Or is it an opportunity to take what we've learned from that falling on our face experience and use it to infuse into the next round of whatever it is that we're working on doing, so that we can be more powerful, we can be more capable based on the experience, the lessons that we've learned along the way, and the odds of achieving whatever it was that we set out to increase substantially, just as a result of saying, okay, that wasn't a failure, it was just an opportunity for growth that I now have the ability to harness and to turn it into a learning experience. And it's, for me, it just became, it was no longer an option to work a job or to make a paycheck or do something that I wasn't really enjoying doing. That just isn't in my vocabulary anymore. I couldn't do that anymore. I couldn't subject myself to that anymore, because it's so limiting. I see, it's unfortunate. I see so many people. One of the guys at Inspiration calls them the golden handcuffs. Going to work a job because you get a good paycheck, but you freaking hate it. I mean, that to me is like my own personal hell. And I don't want to knock all the people out there earning it, doing everything they can to work to support their families and take care of themselves and all that. I have deep appreciation for people that commit themselves to providing for their families and things like that. But I don't, I think that a lot of people, as we go into this next year, as these new energies start infusing our reality, that a lot of people are going to wake up from that illusion that we are limited to the opportunities that requires us to punch a time clock and get a paycheck. And I think that there's going to be a lot more people exploring their passions and doing like what I did, is going out there. If you don't know what your purpose is in life, and I'm still learning, go out there and shake things up and try to find it. You'll be surprised. For anybody that watches this, you'll be surprised at what you find, because there's no shortage of inspiration out there on the planet right now, none whatsoever. And that's why we're here. That's why it's more than just one of us on this planet, so we can be here to support each other and to find inspiration through each other's doings, and to band together and be a part of this revolution of change. And As far as I'm concerned, that's what it's really all about.
Absolutely. Wow. Inspiring and well said again. I love it. I love it. And you're right. There are no failures. We're here to learn life and love lessons. And the only failure is when you don't grow from it. You're exactly right. We're here to evolve, and you have to, you have to do what it is your purpose, what's your path, and no one can tell you what that is. You have to figure it out. But when you figure it out, everything starts to work. All the obstacles just clear on this path, and you'll be amazed at how just smooth sailing it is. And you know what, if you're in a spot in your life right now where it's like a sinkhole every day and you're just trying to dig yourself out of it, you know what, something's not right. Look at what you're doing. Tune into your heart and see what resonates to you, because that's really where it is. You have to tune into yourself, and that's one of the things that I love that you're doing, Brian. You're helping inspire others to do. And I'm sorry, you still have to write the book. I'm sorry. But definitely, like, you got to keep inspiring people, because what you're doing is working. And that's why doors are opening up for you. Come on, every time one closes, there's always another one. That's how it's going to be until you get into the right door. And that's it.
Yeah.
When you're in the right door, you're in your heart center, and then it works. And that's the key. That's the difference. And that's what you found. And that's what you're here to do. You're here to inspire others to do exactly what you've done. Find your purpose, your path, and do what the universe wants you to. Because I've got to say, if you're doing the wrong thing, the universe is going to come back and let you know. It's like almost a slap sometimes, but it's going to let you know, hey, try another road, try another door. What happened?
Yeah.
But that's what it is. It's like, wake up and realize, like, as soon as you're tuning into you and doing what you're here to do, there are no obstacles. It's just wonderful and amazing. And it's a loving journey that we're here for. And we just need to do that. We need to inspire ourselves. And I love that you're doing that. You've inspired yourself to do this amazing project. And you got to tell us, is it in January you're going to launch this business? Because this is going to be amazing.
It's well, thank you for those kind words.
Oh, you're welcome.
The fundraising campaign is going to launch in the first week of January,
Around the
and
summer.
around the to kind of we're starting a new year. Let's I'm hoping that kind of to corral some of that New Year's, everybody's inspired to make a difference kind of energy. And so we'll probably end up launching the business sometime toward the end of January or the beginning of February. And it's the beautiful part of doing, some people think, oh God, starting a business, it's almost like, people have the same idea about ending poverty as they do of starting a business. It's like, oh my God, I don't know anything about business. It doesn't really, you don't really have to know a lot about business to be able to, put together a website and offer a service or share information or whatever it might be. There's so many free tools available online. YouTube University is the best possible resource. You've got all these websites like Skillshare and Udemy and YouTube and all these other amazing resources where whatever it is that you want to learn about life or about business or about anything under the sun. I mean, underwater basket weaving, I'm sure there's plenty of classes to do that. It's there. All the information is there. And it's just a matter of saying, here's what I want to do. Start with the end goal in mind, work it backwards, and create a process to be able to put the pieces together. And when you do a business online like the one that I'm launching, you don't have all the huge overhead expenses like storefront or a lot of the the big monthly business expenses that come with having an actual office. And so it doesn't really take a whole lot. I think a lot of people get in their own way, and being an entrepreneur, it's not anybody and everybody is a creator. The entrepreneur is just another word for creator, as far as I'm concerned. And it's got these business ties to it, but everybody is a creator, and everybody has within them the ability and the power to be able to create. And it's sometimes, really not sometimes, all the time, it all starts as an imagination. We underestimate power of imagination. Imagination is the building blocks of all of creation. It all starts with imagining some kind of a concept. That concept forms into an idea. The idea forms into some kind of a plan. The plan leads to some kind of a creation or deliverable or widget or whatever it might be. And where did it all come from? It came from inspiration, from imagination. So one of the things that I hope to inspire within people is to put yourself into that imaginative spirit that you remember having as a child, that you see children acting out. You know, we've been conditioned to go, oh, the kids, they're so damn imaginative. Like it's a bad thing. Like, oh, you know, daydreaming. And that's so ridiculous because our imagination, within our imagination, we have the ability to come up with some of the most amazing and fascinating, all of the most amazing creations that you see around you on the planet in density are all a result of some person with an incredible imagination. And so if you don't know, if you're listening to this and you don't know where to start, figure out little tricks to be able to tap back into that imaginative spirit. And it starts there. I mean, if you forgot how to imagine, go onto YouTube and search for how to tap into your imagination on a deeper level or something along those lines. Because that's where I've gotten my best gifts, is just allowing myself the freedom to be able to imagine things being improved upon or different from the way that they are now. And that's a good place to start for anybody that wants to go out and they're inspired to create something. That's, as far as I'm concerned, the best way to go about doing it. And one of the beautiful things is we all have an imagination. We all have the ability to tap into it. And a lot of the times what happens is when you get a group together, now all of a sudden you have this exponentially powerful imaginative spirit. You know, I love some of the conference calls that we do, you know, with people like Mel V and Lisa and the One Network stuff. Is because when we get together and we share ideas, all of a sudden, next thing you know, we just have these amazing concepts coming up, and we can kind of collectively rally around the things that make us the most excited, and all the new opportunities to create new things, and tapping into that creative spirit is what it's all about. It doesn't, business aside, we're creators. That's why we're here. We came here to create, and we've been conditioned to believe that's not the case. And I call shenanigans on that, basically.
Okay. You heard it here first. Love it, definitely. And you're right. It's just about doing. It doesn't matter what you do. You just have to do something. Like, listen to that advice. Like, it doesn't matter what your purpose or your plan is. Just, you know what? Just sitting back and doing nothing is just not acceptable anymore. You have to find your fire. Whatever fuels your soul. Reach into
Mm-hmm.
that. Just go for it, and just, I like to say, just let your soul soar, let it fly, and just be free. And that's what we need to do. That's when you're
Yep.
going to be the happiest, is when you're truly doing that. And this has been amazing. I hope we can have you on again and talk some more. Rob, I'm sorry that we've kind of hogging the mics here and stuff. Is there a message or anything that you want to add to this? Or have we put you totally to sleep?
No, I've been listening to everything.
Great.
Well, I'll try and condense it because you've got great points, but and I'll make this about 2 minutes, so I won't hog it too much. What you were talking, Brian, about X Factor, America's Got Talent? I still watch the stuff now on the computer, and I know what you mean. Somebody walks out, and when you think about it, they belt out these incredible notes, and usually, if we're being really honest with ourselves, we've usually prejudged them before they come out based on how they look or how they sound. And they take everybody, blow your socks off because you think, wow, I didn't expect that. So I know what you mean about someone living a dream.
Mm-hmm.
But what's really interesting, what you said is, the sad thing is people live their dreams, and this thing about success or failure, there's no such thing. People who live their dreams, whether those dreams come to fruition or not, you're exactly right. What you said is the point is that they have a dream and they're trying to live that dream, and so they take away an experience from that. But the real sad thing is the people that are in this existence with no dreams whatsoever, and I think that's the real, and that unfortunately seems to be the masses. And that's it's going to catch on what you're doing and what we're doing, what we're putting out, what thousands of people are doing. The book you're going to write, the the commercial stuff, being generous that you're doing, all this is now building up, and we know it's going to echo and reverberate, and people are going to start realizing that you can have a dream in life, and it's not about whether that dream comes to fruition or not. It's about, like as you said, you have a spark of imagination, and from there you then create something that is your dream. And I think if people aren't sure how to start with it, all they've got to do is look at themselves and think, well, what makes me feel good? What makes me happy? Because there's a good chance if it makes you yourself happy or feel good, then maybe you can start creating from your imagination something that can make somebody else feel equally as good. And maybe that's a great starting point for people. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well said, man. I couldn't agree more. And you're so right. I mean, it's pretty common, unfortunately. If you walk up to the majority of people and you say, what's your dream? What is it that makes you most happy in life? Most of the time, people, they either don't know or they got to take a long time to think about it. And
Hey, can I just tell you, I've asked over the last about 5 years, about 100 people, including my brother, and I've said, and this is incredible, they've all given the same answer. I've said, what would you do if you had enough money? If you'd never had to worry about money? And part of the program, every single one of them have said, I'd buy a new house, I'd buy a speed. And I said, no. You've got everything. You've got your house, you've got your clothes, you've got your holidays and your villa in Barbados. You've got all that. What would you do? And then they sit and think, and you know what? Every single one have said something creative. Every single one. My brother said, I'd start playing guitar again. Somebody else said, I like painting, I'd do some painting. Somebody else said, I like writing. But interestingly, when they got rid of the programming of the money and how they can spend it and the material wealth, every single 100 out of 100 so far have come up with, I'd do something such and such, and it's been creative every single time. So I think that's an expression of the very nature of, what sort of beings we really are. Sorry to interrupt you, I just jumped in there.
Oh, no interruption at all, man. That's an amazing social experiment. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. And what that reminds me of right there, Rob, that story was that Alan Watts YouTube video where, what would you do if money were no object? He asks all his students when they graduate from his program that question. And they answered exactly the way your friends answered. Oh, buy a house, buy a car. And they said, no, you have all those things already. What would you do? Do you ride horses? You do artwork? Social work? What is it? And it gets people to break that. We've been conditioned to this cycle of, work until you're 50 and build up your retirement, and then once you retire, then you have enough time to be happy. And everything that you do is to build up that. And it's like the ends justify the means. And what happens when the majority of people go into retirement? They get bored as hell. They have no idea what to do. And that what you just said is pretty much an exact mirror of that YouTube video. That was a huge inspiration for me as well. Jake Ducey, a friend of mine, that's basically, and I told this story in the blog post that I put out. When I was working in corporate America, I met a young kid, and his name is Jake Ducey. And for those of you that have heard the story, I apologize for the redundance, but it's a good story, and it's relevant to this discussion. 20-year-old kid at the time, he wasn't resonating with his college studies, and he was asking his economics teacher, why the Federal Reserve doesn't get audited and things like that were causing him to get in a lot of trouble and not really be, the champion student teacher's pet persona type. And so he got super disenchanted with school and the education that was being forced down him, and wasn't into it anymore. So he left a full ride basketball scholarship to go travel around the world and search for life's purpose without a map on $8,000. And he met a shaman in South America who said, you're going to go on this adventure. This is the start of your adventure. And when you're done, you're going to go home and you're going to write a book, and then you're going to inspire other people to follow their heart, follow their passion. And he had this amazing, incredible adventure all over the world: Australia, Indonesia, South America, all over the place. And he came back, and it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. He wrote a book about it, got the book published, And now he's represented by the #1 literary agent in the world. He's published author with Penguin, the youngest one in self-development in history. He's done a TED Talk, and he's about to release a second book. And when I read his book, I was on a trip to Sedona, and I only got 30 pages in, not barely 30 pages before I realized, shit, I got to quit my job. It was that little bit of inspiration that I needed to realize, what am I doing? You know, yeah, I need the paycheck. Yeah, I need to survive, but is it worth this headache? Is it worth this stress? And I knew that I had to go because it wasn't bringing me joy. It wasn't what I was passionate about, and it wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. And I think that there's a quote. It goes, the mystery of human existence lies not in just staying alive, but in finding something to live for. And I think that we're all, whether consciously or not, we're on this journey of trying to find that which we want to live for. And sometimes it takes people their whole life to find it. It seems like the youth are starting to figure it out a lot sooner and start to realize that things are kind of broken, and they're coming into the world seeded with this, this new energy within them. And but it's a trend, it's a pattern, and if you look at the pattern across a large enough sampling, I think that what we would find is that there's a lot to have hope for. There's a lot to be excited about, and when I hear about currencies collapsing and economies collapsing, I don't go, oh God, I go, bring it on. I want to dance in the fire and celebrate in the ashes, because ultimately things have to come crashing down before they can be rebuilt again. And that systematically, that's what's happening in the world right now. Is you have a lot of stuff crashing down, and that's where our true innovation and creation, I think, is really going to be able to thrive, because everything is in need of being rebuilt and being redesigned. And that takes people, passionate people like Rob, like yourself, and Wendy, and me, and many others like us all around the world to say, look, we're ready, we're up for it. This is the greatest challenge. This is why I'm here. I had a Reiki healing in 2010 that changed the entire course of my life. I didn't know really much about multidimensionality and things like that, and I was told, Brian, you came into this world. She asked me if I wanted to know first. You want to know why you came here? Yeah, bring it on. You came in this world to be a teacher and to help people make this energetic shift that humanity is going through right now. And I knew nothing about what that even was, but the words rang true. They resonated deeply. So it threw me down this rabbit hole of discovery of what it was that she was talking about. Third dimension, fifth dimension, ascension, these kind of things. I had no context for understanding those concepts, and it ultimately was the message that resulted in a huge amount of self-discovery. And what I realized is that every person that's on the planet right now chose to be here, and they're absolutely blessed and fortunate for having an opportunity, because the line was long and not everybody got selected. And this is just what I believe. But I think that energetically what's happening on the planet is that everybody's getting into position. And whether consciously or unconsciously, that we're all getting into position. And it's like a movie set, and the director's about to call action, and when he does, everybody's going to know exactly where they need to be and what they need to do. And that might be kind of a utopian view of world events of what's playing itself out right now, but so be it. That's how I see it. And that ultimately, if we're co-creators of our existence, and we design, and our perception creates a reality, and I truly believe that, why would we not choose to see the world as a beautiful place? Why would we not choose to see each other as beautiful beacons of love and connected to everything and all that is? Why would we choose to see it as anything otherwise? That's how I choose to see it, and that's what shapes my reality. And I think that's it's way understated, because I think that when people realize that a shift in awareness is all it takes to see the beauty that lies in the world, that's a concept that carries within it the power to change the world in reality. Um, and that's a big part of this trend, a big part of this systematic changing of the tide and changing of events. And the more that the days, the weeks, and the months and the years progress, I think that what's ultimately going to be a symptom is that we're going to have this new burst of inspiration and empowerment. People are going to feel more empowered. They're not going to know why, but they're going to feel more empowered and more at the helm of creation. And that has the ability. I've seen people when we went on this Opal tour, when I went to Norway and was able to connect with all these beautiful beings from all over the planet. I've watched people just crack their whole world, what they thought, their persona, the masks they wear, just come crumbling down. And in the matter of hours, basically opening their eyes for the first time and seeing the world through a different set of lenses. And that's powerful, man. And that's what gives me the juice to keep going. If I can just inspire one person, if I can just empower one person, if I can just make it my life's mission to help just one other person, then what other purpose do I need? I don't. And it can be as simplistic. I believe in the KISS model, to keep it simple, stupid. And it's got me this far.
That's beautiful. I absolutely love it.
And I am rambling, Rob. You're not the rambling one. Obviously, I'm the rambling one here. So I drank a couple coffee.
This is the quietest I've ever been, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Welcome to the Brian Kelly Show. Absolutely love it, though. No, you're doing amazing. And you know what? I intuitively feel like you need to record something on this show for your family, something a little bit more than just the waving hi at the beginning. Like, you have to add something special. I'm sorry, it's required.
Okay, I will do. You want me to do that now?
I do very much. Yes, it's important. It's important for your family, so I'm gonna have to make you do it.
Okay, as long as I don't have to say I'm going to Disneyland, because I don't like Disneyland. Okay, so wow. Okay, now that I'm put on the spot, I love you, Mom and Dad, and all my family, my little brother Jeff, my niece Jenna, Jeff's fiance Lacey. I'm going home to go to their wedding in May. My family has been such a huge, talk about inspiration. They've played such a huge inspirational role in my journey. They say you're a product of your upbringing, and that's definitely true for me. I came from a family that there was never any shortage of love. And, we might have been strapped financially, but the love was always there. And that support system was always there. And as a result of that, I've brought a lot of that compassion into my adult life. And I have my mother, who's an angel and would give you the shirt off her back. Same with my dad, if he needed it. And they're probably two of the most inspiring people, my little brother included, that I've have the privilege of spending this incarnation with. And so, Mom, I love you. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Dad, I love you. Thank you for everything you've done for me. And my little brother, Jeff, I love you too, man. And I'm so grateful for my family and that support system that I've had, because ultimately it's a very powerful part of who I am today and why I am doing the work that I'm doing. So, love you, Mom and Dad. Little bro.
Oh, that's much better. Sorry. It's Christmas. It's Christmas. We can't just have you say just a little hi, a little wave. You got to give them a little love here. I love it. And Rob.
Yeah. I've got no messages for anyone.
Just leave me alone with my dog. I got it.
No, he's quiet. He's been asleep ages. Okay, I just wanted a message for everybody, really, not just family or anybody, but just for everybody. We touched on what we said about, if when people finally let go of money, the Alan Watts YouTube stuff and what I said, people finally let go of the material stuff, and the analogy we said, they would always do something creative. But it's not just that they would always do something creative. The beautiful thing is what you yourself, you've been saying, Wendy, and what you've just said, Brian, is we've got this incredible imagination, and which leads to creation. So not only would we all do something creative, would we not? Had we not worried about money, if we didn't worry about money, we do something creative. But the point to all of this is that we have a creative ability through our imagination. So even if we were doing the most mundane things like sweeping a floor, by our the nature of our species, we'd find something creative to enhance mopping that floor. So it's not that we do something creative by choice, it's that we are creative beings. Through imagination, that we are co-creators. Imagination leads to creation to improve and enhance. So, in a nutshell, if we've got creative ability to apply to even the most mundane tasks, then why can we not individually and as a species create the most beautiful things? If we start for ourselves, we can. There's nothing stopping us. We can create exactly what we want. So why not create the most beautiful things for ourselves and our loved ones, and then expand that out to other people? Show somebody else, explain it. They start doing it, and before we know, we're going to have the most beautiful world, and planet Earth's going to be the paradise it's always meant to be. So,
Beautiful.
and we're all reading off the same page, aren't we? So it's beautiful, beautiful words from yourself, Wendy, and from Brian. Brilliant, and a great message.
Great. I just want to remind all of you,
Awesome.
let go. Let go of everything.
Your turn, Wendy. Your turn, Wendy. Your turn.
Thank you.
Yeah, come on, Wendy.
Yeah.
You've been quiet too.
Let go. Let go. You know what? Like I said, when we do a show, you know what? I let the universe kind of guide me, and you know what? Brian need to get this out to the world. Like you guys need to be inspired by him, and it's not about me. It doesn't matter if it's my show. It's never been just my show. It's Rob's show as much as mine. It's Brian's show as much as mine. It's your show as much as mine. It's not about me. Let go of what's stopping you. Just get into that heart center, you know, and let your words and let your actions come from your heart center, and just get inspired. Inspire yourself. Do it. And 2015 is a time. You know what? Things are going to change, and you're not going to like some of those changes. Learn to be simple. Like, you know, just take things down, you know, a few notches. It doesn't have to be so extravagant. Just get ready for the changes. And I just love you all, and I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And have an amazing day, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Wendy. Awesome.